All right, everybody. Welcome to the show. Tennessee Wildcast. It's your weekly podcast at the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency. Jason Harmon's here.
How's it going, Doug?
We got a big show today.
A show?
We got a show.
Yeah.
We got a show talking about a show. We'll get to that in a few minutes. Got special guests, and that don't even count Don King and Todd sitting over here.
Hiding in the corner over here.
Hiding in the corner. All right. Got some stuff to talk about first, though, right?
Yeah, a lot of current events going on, a lot of changes happening around here we want to let people know about.
It's deer season. It's fall.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting into it, aren't we?
Yep.
Kids' hunt is over, and we'll have some numbers on you later for that, what they did. And
I think they had a pretty good weekend over at the hunt in Middle Tennessee.
They took a few deer over there. Mm-hmm. Lee Wilmot went down there and wrote about it a little bit, and they got some deer. It was hot. It was a hot weekend for the youngsters, but there were some deer taken, and I want to remind those kids that if it was too hot for you this time, you get to go again in January.
Yeah.
And it probably won't be too hot then. Mm-hmm. A lot of time to talk about that, though. But anyway, a lot of other stuff going on. We got muzzleloader season about to start, right?
Muzzleloader season is this weekend.
Correct.
I'm going to plan on being in the woods on Saturday
That's
morning.
all you've talked about.
So I
don't think you'll be in the office
bring a
next
picture
week.
in next week for the show maybe or something. We'll see.
Yeah, I believe it when I see it. Anyway, I would like to see that.
Yeah.
You and Tucker, you going to try to take Tucker out?
I'm going to take him out there, and hopefully we'll bag us a buck. Maybe.
All right. Well, let's talk about some
happens.
stuff. This was a big week for the agency, and that's one of the reasons we got our guest today, and we'll talk about that. But we big change this week. New era started this week for TWRA and also for the Sportsmen of Tennessee, and that is the way we sell licenses in the state.
Right.
And if you go to a license agent now and you get this piece of paper, don't freak out. That's what you're getting now. You're getting a piece of paper, an 8.5 by 11. And you can cut it down to the size you want it, and if you lose it, all you have to do is go to your house and run off another copy.
Or make multiple copies and stick them in each bag, each pocket, and you're legal wherever you go and whenever you're out there.
That's a good idea. Similar system in Florida, and when I go down there to saltwater fish, I'll take 4 or 5 copies and put them in different bags. But the good news, too, is you can put it on that iPhone that you've got hanging out up there that we're also working on. We're going to have it improved pretty soon.
Let me show that.
Yeah, is it not up there? I'm seeing it.
It is now.
It is now. That iPhone, you can also keep your license there, and it's legal. And you're going to get, when you buy these licenses now, whether you go to an agent or whether you do it at the house, they're going to send this thing to you by email. So you'll always have it. You'll have it on your phone. You can show it to an officer, and you're legal and ready to go.
Right. And then the great thing about this app is you can check the deer in right there, too.
Yeah, and let's talk about that for a second. Some of you aren't as savvy as others, and we know that, right?
Like Doug, yeah.
Yeah, right.
I'm sorry.
He hangs over me all the time teaching me stuff. Anyway, he's right. But I'm savvy enough, I think, to at least go to somebody like this guy right here and say, what do I do? So if you're one of those that has to drive 50 miles to get to a check station and you don't have a telephone or iPhone, smartphone or mobile device, go to one of your buddies and let them check the deer in for you using your ID and your information, and they can do it for you, and you don't have to drive 50 miles to find a place to go.
Right.
Okay.
Let's mention one more thing before we leave this topic. The licenses. It's easier to buy them now. You can buy them in packages.
It is. That's one of the great things.
A deer hunter on a WMA and you don't know what to buy, just click those buttons, those options, and it'll package and bundle that for you.
Yeah, one of the things deer that comes to mind is duck. People are always, because duck can be so confusing. I want to go in a wildlife management area after I go to the drawing, and then I also have to get this license to go with this permit. Now you don't have to think. You just go in there and buy the package and you're good to go. You can still shop if you want to. It's going to provide you an Amazon-like shopping experience with carts and all that stuff.
Right.
So it's going to be really easy and fast.
Right.
Okay?
Awesome. Any other current events we want to talk about?
Well, the turkey season's over. We'll get you some numbers on those later. And I want to talk about these carp real quick. We're going down. This is an Asian carp. It's a silver carp. And these are the ones that jump out of the water and knock you off your boat if you're not careful. But we're going to go to a blitz in a few days, and we're going to see what Kentucky and Tennessee's doing about trying to stop the spread of these things across our states in our bigger waters, well, in our smaller waters too, but they're in a lot of the bigger waters, and we're going to get some good video footage of it to show you and give you an idea of what Kentucky and Tennessee are doing to try to stop these things. They look like they would be big eaters of big fish, but they're not. They like to eat the small stuff, the beginning of the food chain, and it's really bad for all the other things that rely on the beginning of the food chain. And they are producing in incredible numbers. So we're going to go check that out, all right?
Check that out. One last thing, I think, before we
I
get
did. I want to mention this, and then we'll get on with it. This is the Corps of Engineers sent us a press release the other day. They're trying to make it safer below the dams. There was a big deal made about this a couple years ago on the Cumberland River systems. They wanted to shut down access to the dams and put up barriers, and sportsmen fought against it, and there was legislation created by Congress. Senator Alexander got involved with that a lot. anyway, the result of that is, look, let's be safer. Let's try to do things to make life safer below these dams, but let's not barricade them. And one of the things they're going to do is they've put lights on these gates on Cumberland river water systems. So if those lights go off, it means they're going to open those gates up and that water's going to flow and you need to get out of there or not go.
Right.
So, but there's no barricades there to stop you from going.
Where are those life jackets?
Just use common sense. Hits the law below a dam. Make sure you have them on.
All right.
Can we introduce our guest now?
Drum roll, please.
Yep.
All right.
All right. Like we need to, right? All right. We got Eric Baker here. He is the host of Tennessee Uncharted.
Yeah.
And Taylor Walters. She helps produce the show. And people may not know Taylor as much, but she probably works harder than anybody at Tennessee Uncharted.
Yeah.
Absolutely, she does.
You know she does, Eric.
Start.
Welcome to Nashville.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here. You guys do a great job. So, well, we got to do the sharing mic and stuff. Eric,
Yes.
pull over there for a second. Why are
Okay.
y'all here? What brought you to Nashville today?
Well, we just filmed with Michael down about the upgrade on the app.
Just what we're talking about.
Yeah, everything you guys were just touching on, man. I mean, and like the packages.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for a guy like me who's a little low on intelligence, he was saying, they were wanting to make it experience based, which, man, for me, just. It calms my nerves a whole lot, and I know that I can. He said, "Legal at a glance," and if I could apply that to more aspects of my life, probably I'd be better off. So y'all are doing something right here at TWRA.
Awesome.
All right. Well, look forward to that one. You will explain it probably in a different way than I did and far more entertaining. You might even write a song about
That's
it,
right.
Eric, and get on there. We appreciate you being here, and I know y'all are shooting season 3, right?
Correct.
So season 3 starts when?
November 6th.
November the
Yeah,
6th.
this Sunday.
Okay.
This Sunday.
All right, and what are we going to start it off with?
Here, I'll
Do you
let
remember? Taylor, you remember?
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a fun episode. Actually, I got to be on camera with Eric along with some of the other ladies.
Pull it on up, dude.
Oh, sorry.
You're okay.
See, he's the pro at this part.
It's
I'm
okay.
always behind
You're
the
great.
camera.
Go.
But yeah, it's all about Bo becoming an outdoor woman. So we brought out all the ladies of Tennessee Uncharted. So all of our camera operators' wives and myself, my production coordinator, and we took part in Bo. And that's the whole episode. It's such a great program. We felt that it deserved just a ton of coverage. And we all walked away learning something and something different. But it was fantastic.
Is
Yeah.
Taylor, I don't know, before the show started, were you a sports person at all? Was this something that you knew before, or you've gotten into more since you've been a part of the show?
Yeah, so I come from Central Illinois, which I tell everybody we're just as redneck. We just have a different accent.
That's awesome.
It's just some of the best territory in the country.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's some legendary deer hunting there, among other things. So yeah, sportsman lifestyle has always been a part of my life. But then I met my husband here in Tennessee, and his father's actually a ranch manager and a hunting guide, so it
Wow.
became a very big part of my life.
Okay. All right. And what led you to Tennessee Uncharted?
Well, actually, I had been out in LA and in Nashville doing a lot of high-end commercial work, and I just didn't feel good about it. I felt like I was promoting a lifestyle of just consumption for no good reason, and I wanted to get people into the outdoors. It played such a large part in my life and was really just my sanctuary, if you will. And so I wanted to leave behind some content that I really believed in, and the show is certainly in that vein. It's something we believe in.
Well, give us a preview of the coming year. What will we see this year? We're going to start out with the women, but what happens after that?
Yeah, well, I mean, we kind of own the fact that this is not your standard hook and bullet program, and that's really intentional. The truth of the matter is you guys have got some great license holders that are very loyal, and we didn't want them to feel slighted. We still have content for them, but the truth of the matter is license sales are declining. This next generation is just not getting out from behind their iPads and their iPhones and into the outdoors. So we wanted to go with a different format. Eric is a born and bred Tennessean, but a bit of an outdoor novice, if you will. And he wanted to rediscover the outdoors and get acquainted with that lifestyle. And so we wanted to follow his progress. So up until now, he's kind of been getting his sea legs, learning the basics, learning how to upgrade his bow and learning how to cast and that sort of thing. But this season's really a turning point. He's had 2 years of learning the basics, and now it's time to kind of own that and get into the outdoors and on his own. So, this season is a lot more hook and bullet. We're also giving TWRA a lot more love and attention. The longer that we've had a relationship with them, just the more impressed we have become by them. Just all the work that the agency does. Everybody that we talk to has been with the agency for 15, 20, 25 years, and that says something.
At least.
Yeah.
Indeed.
At least.
So we've got a lot of human interest pieces this year, following some of the interesting characters that make the agency as great as it is.
That's going to be fun to watch. Looking forward to it. And how many in a year In a production year, how many shows are we talking about?
We've got 14 episodes this season. In the past, we've had 16, but this year we try to do some episodes that cover a little bit more of a time frame. So, this season Eric took part in his first fishing tournament series, so we wanted to cover all of those tournaments, and so we scaled down to 14 this year.
Okay, and where can, and we're going to push it back over to Eric and let him tell us some adventures in a second, but where can sportsmen who haven't seen the show yet, where can they find the show?
So we've
or
got
anybody who wants to, not just sportsmen, we want everybody to watch the show.
Absolutely, yeah. I like that plug.
Yeah,
more and more fond of you every time you talk. So then we've got a whole variety of ways. You can find all of the episodes on our website, which is tnuncharted.com.
Okay.
You can also get to it from tnwildlife.org.
Yep.
TWRA TV also features the episodes.
Okay.
We've got a YouTube channel out there. And then you can find us across the state on the Tennessee channel. So if you have PBS, and hopefully you do, they've got great content out there. Hopefully you're taking advantage of that. You can also see us there. The time frame depends on which part of the state that you're in, but we've got coverage in West, Middle, and East Tennessee. So.
Okay. All right. It's easy to find.
Absolutely.
It's easy to find. All right, Eric, tell us this adventure you've gone through. Tell us your history first. First, you're an entertainer. You're an outstanding entertainer, good songwriter, singer, all that good stuff. Tell us how you got into this business.
Well, I had been on the road playing a lot of music, touring all over the world. 200 shows a year around is what I was playing. And I've got a little one at home and a very forgiving and understanding wife that I was truly growing apart from and wanted a change in my life. And thankfully heard of this opportunity and put together an awful audition tape. I just know I know it's going to come back to bite me sometime or whatever. But it was meant to be. I just the way that it all fell together. It was just the timing of it could not have been more perfect. As I was just looking truly to get back to zero. And when I talk about getting back to zero, I grew up in rural West Tennessee, Halls, Tennessee. Grew up squirrel hunting and after school, and it was nothing to do but be outside, really, And but when I went to college, I grew up hunting on private land. I had cousins who had farmland and a tree stand at the edge of the field, here and there, and I knew that I could just call my cousin and go whenever I wanted to. So like hunting on public land is something I didn't grow up doing. So when I went to UT and went to Knoxville, I basically lost my connection with the outdoors. I did start biking and hiking and enjoying the mountains that way, but hunting and fishing I just pretty much stopped doing altogether. Then I hit the road playing music. And it was all I could do. The intro of the show says, kind of seeing Tennessee pass by through a windshield. And that's basically what my life was. So it just was a perfect opportunity for me to just rediscover who I am and what's made me who I am. And Tennessee is the only place I've ever lived. And when you look at my DNA, it's my blood's orange, and my roots are here in this state. And I get people who stop me and they're like, man, I watched this episode and I didn't even know that was there. I've lived here my whole life and this is just down the road from me. And for me, that is my experience as we film on a daily basis. It's like, I really had no idea how amazing Tennessee is. And talking about TWRA specifically, had no idea everything that you guys do. And when you think about what your license sales go to, my vision of it was just very small, and the information that I had. So that's, in doing the show, it's just been like so eye-opening, so inspiring, so it's pretty much saved my life in a lot of ways. It's really been great.
Are you still entertaining? Are you still hitting the road?
I am, still playing music, and that's been the beauty. When I first started the show, I was burnt out and exhausted on music, and this show has restored me and re-energized me, and re-inspired me, and now music. I'm playing a lot more music than I was when we started the show, which has been great. My first job actually as hosting the show, though, was to write the theme song, which was like, okay, all right, I can kind of do it. And at that point, we didn't quite know what the show was going to turn out to be, and the chorus says, there's a place you've never been that's right where you want to be. And that's, to me, for all the people sitting at home, we're trying to get them outside, trying to get them, just down the road to whatever may be there, because they may discover because I've discovered so much about myself that I didn't know in these places where I've grown up. And that's, to me, what it's all about. Try something you've never done. Go somewhere you've never been, and you may, discover your passion, what you're put here for. So we're all about trying to get people to get out there and take some chances.
I know you work a lot. Did you want to say something?
Oh, I was just going to say, season 3, highlight some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about, because this is more behind the scenes TWRA this year, and just.
Well, starting with season 1, becoming an outdoor woman, my wife got to take part in that,
cool.
And so we kind of experienced that together.
Did you become an outdoor woman?
That was the way I'm Eric Baker, and this week I'm becoming an outdoor woman. Well, it was awesome to see my wife, who's never held a handgun. She was like Dirty Harry by the end of the weekend, man. She felt so comfortable. And, she, as we reflected, she's not a big fan of bugs and the dirt and everything. But, she's a sporty girl. She really is. Yeah. But, we went, and she's an indoor, pretty much an indoor woman. But what we left there, not that she's, a absolute outdoor woman, but she was able to knock down some barriers and like get confidence and understanding and fly fishing. She learned how to fly fish, and she was rocking it, man. I literally hooked the back of my head, literally, and she's just dropping it right in there. And she's like, I would totally do this. So it brought us together in a really nice way. And 2 weeks ago, we were out in Bledsoe County. I guess I can say the county we were in.
Sure,
Yeah.
Sure.
But we were out with a wildlife officer on a poaching sting. And my blood's still pumping from it, because we drove around all day and got a look at the county and, just got some insight into the day-to-day life of what it is to be a wildlife officer. Well, then it got dark. The night came upon us. And it was like I was part of a SWAT team or something. It was, I was ready to go.
Did they let you carry a gun?
No, they were like, well, that's the beauty of the story, how it ends. We ease off, into the woods, and we're sitting in the middle of nowhere, and I'm like, man, is anybody even going to show up here? Well, an hour into it, we're cutting up and just telling stories and having a ball. Well, this car starts easing in and pulls off into the field and puts their lights on bright, and the mood changed immediately, because it was like, all right, that's all I need to see. Get out. And I was like, what? What's that? And he's like, get out! And we got dumped out. And it was, whoa, they took off, and it was, it was super exciting. But more than anything, it was like, man, by that time it was 11 o'clock at night. Yeah. And where most people are tucked in their beds, with a belly full of hot food, these guys, day in and day out, are sacrificing and having to be in the middle of nowhere waiting on some idiot to come do something stupid, so it was super insightful, and
they came back and got you, right?
eventually it was great, though.
That's fun. We're going to see that, though, right?
We are, yeah. And then the other thing, in a matter of a week's time, I went from jumping out of a plane at 10,000
wow,
feet.
I've seen some of that.
To being 50 feet underwater scuba diving.
Wow.
In a week's time. And never left, was probably within 100 miles of each other.
Which one was more frightening, if that's the right word, or maybe more?
The scuba diving.
Really?
It really was.
It was
I would jump
harder
out
for you to, yeah.
Well, she was the first one out of the plane. And the plane, well, and that was the whole thing. We were all piled in there, and I was like, yeah, man, we're totally going to do it. I'm hosting a show, so I got to be like upbeat, and I'm like, yeah, this is going to be no big deal. Well, then they throw open the door at 10,000 feet, and we were literally facing each other, and she jumps out of a plane at 10,000 feet. And that's when it got real. I was like, holy moly, she just jumped out of a plane. And then the guy's like, all right, you're next. And we're like easing for it. I'm like, no, I don't want to. I don't want to. But then, just to get
exhilarating. Yeah, that's gotta
man.
That had to be cool.
And again, there's a place you've never been that's right where you want to be.
Where was this, by the way? Where were y'all jumping out of?
That was
we're in Middle Tennessee for that piece, just outside of Waverly.
All right, you guys are. That's one thing about the show. You're everywhere.
Yeah,
Johnson City to
all
Memphis
over
and everything
exactly,
in between.
And everything in between. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, that sounds like fun. And why was the scuba diving more exhilarating?
It was. you're breathing underwater, which is just the most unnatural thing. And we did it in the spring, and we were in a quarry, and I think the temperature of the water was like 50 degrees.
Oh, wow.
Or
Cold.
It was pretty cold, but just the equalization of my ears and just knowing with all of that the way air expands in you, it's like, man, if you're drowning, you can't just shoot up to the top. I don't know, it just was a little, but once I got got a grasp of it or whatever, it was unbelievable. Because you talk about, I mean, you can get caught up with big old bucks on top of the water and walking around where you can see it. But once you get under the water and see those brim and see the bass and actually see what they're doing and in their habitat, and you get to be a fly on the wall. Which I think, and that's why I say with license buyers and everything, even if you don't hunt. And, if you're, whatever your views are on that, there's something about sitting in a tree stand and being a fly on the wall of the daily process that goes on in the woods. I mean, how a deer moves, a squirrel that can sound like it weighs 200 pounds,
Yeah.
I mean, Taylor's husband and we went bow hunting in season 2, and we had an owl just swoop down, and I mean, it sat just right across from us in the tree. And then Cody did his best owl impersonation, and then the owl called back. It was like he literally communicated with this owl, and it was like, oh. But I was super gassy that day. We didn't kill any deer. So we'd eaten hot chicken the night before, so it wasn't a great hunting experience for sure. Yeah, exactly.
That's a lot of information.
It is. Hey, that's all right. Sorry. I hope.
That's okay.
Sorry, folks. Sorry.
That's all right. It's honest. All right. Well, at least I see out of this that you've become more of a sportsman.
Totally.
Found your way. Your wife has. What I see, too, is you got a child that's going to have an opportunity to get out there now because of you, too. Really.
Yeah. Well, and that's, people ask me all the time, hey, man, give me some advice on how to get my kids out and outside. And I say, you go outside. I mean, my daughter's 7 years old, and I mean, I can tell her all these great things, but if I'm sitting at home watching Netflix, then I mean, she's never going to get out there. But I mean, if she sees me out there doing all this amazing stuff and she's like, I want to do that. And it's the same with, I mean, young families, old families, whatever. I mean, if you're getting out there, you're setting the example. And I mean, I think that's the way that we educate people and hopefully inspire them to get out there and do that. And that's, I mean, the way that we've set up the show, and my role in the show is that I'm the audience representative. And hopefully we do it in a way, and we do these storylines in a way where someone's like, man, if that dude can do it, I can do that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Outdoors is humbling. I don't know how many times I've been embarrassed doing the outdoors. Running a boat over something or doing this or doing that. And yet that's part of what you've done is you can tell in the early shows that you're kind of new to it again.
Right.
But you can see your progression as you get better and everything. Is it just your personality that you're okay being embarrassed by what might happen out there sometimes? It's just part of it. And I don't mean that I mean it as a compliment in the biggest way, because I've done it so many times, and I've been doing it for years. I do stupid stuff.
Right.
So, I don't know, it's been part of your show and your personality?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that's just, I'm pretty, like, I guess the best compliments people can give me is authenticity. It's genuine, me as a person, me in music, as well as the show, that it seems like a genuine experience. And I mean, for me, knowing my role, I mean, I think trying to hide that goes against everything the show's about. Because if they say, oh, yeah, this is my first time out on a paddleboard trying to fish, we were just talking about that. Well, if I caught every fish in the river, and then I mean, that's just not real, So I mean, we're trying to hopefully not in a way where people are like, oh man, I don't want to go out and look like an idiot like that guy. But I mean, it is humbling, and I like hearing, hey,
that helps them do it, right?
Well, and hearing you say, hey man, I've been doing that for 30 years, and I do the same thing. Well, that helps me, and I think that that honesty. We live in a Facebook generation where you only see the best of people, and I mean. We're trying to kind of show maybe as much of it as possible. We cut all the gassy parts out. Some of them.
Are y'all tough on equipment?
Ooh, yeah,
Yes,
yeah, definitely.
yes.
A lot of dust. I mean, because you just think driving down a dusty road.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just it can, even if you
I
got
just
the
think of
windows
water.
up.
I just think of water and cameras in the water.
That's
Yeah.
at the Hiwassee this year.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
had a scare.
We did, yeah. We went down the Hiwassee with Mark Thurman of Region 3,
Yeah, that's
looking at
good.
their trout sampling, and he got a little ambitious and forgot we had $40,000 worth of camera equipment in the boat. We had a wall of water come over us, and everybody, did it get wet? And we popped the battery out, and all this water pours out. But
Oh, boy.
it's amazing how far a box of rice will go to dry things out. So we recovered, and
Even
that's what
the-
insurance is for. So.
That is. I mean, if you're going to get out there and do what we do,
Yep.
you're taking that chance
Absolutely.
with that stuff, and that's what insurance does. Y'all fly a drone sometimes too.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't want to get in your way of what you're going to say, but
Yeah.
we love the drone shots.
Yeah.
Who's your drone expert?
Our camera guys, our 2 camera guys. We've got a pretty core team that comes with us everywhere, and
Yeah.
they're very talented.
Let's talk about them real quick. Tell us
Yeah.
about that team.
Well, we call ourselves a small footprint production, so we're not that Hollywood style group that you're probably used to interacting with. So there's normally 4 of us. We got 2 camera operators; they monitor all of their sound. Then myself and Eric. So we run with a pretty
A lot
small
of talent.
group.
They have a lot of talent. And
Absolutely.
They make you look good, Eric.
Well, and
And Taylor.
you know what's so cool
Taylor,
is
you
when,
look good anyway.
when I got hired to do this, I was like, well, I don't know how to host a TV show. Sorry, Don. Don's this and that. He's like, what? I mean, this is my first time. It's my first time doing this, But it really, a TV crew, it parallels being in a band so tightly. I mean, we jump in a van and we each have our roles. It's not guitar. Instead of guitar players and bass players and drummers, you've got camera guys, producers,
Hosts.
and I mean hosts exactly with the mosts. But it really parallels so closely. And I mean the team. I mean starting with Taylor, who just works so hard and keeps all of us knuckleheads in line. I mean it's a hard job. But I mean the talent. Just talking about the drone. I mean some of the shots that they get looks like it should be in a Michael Bay movie or something. I mean it really so smooth and little things that you wouldn't even think about. I mean, just the way the camera pans smoothly. I mean, I tried and it's like, it looks like, some spastic guy is, which it probably is.
maybe so.
He's like, that guy's a couple of Red Bulls in.
Well, I'm on my second drone because of my experience with my first.
right, exactly.
You and Don King have followed the same path. He followed it. He went a few years before you as an entertainer and played thousands of shows everywhere. Y'all commiserate a lot about that.
Yep, we did. I mean, when we first met, and it's, I owe a lot to Don just for this opportunity. And when we first met at a Cracker Barrel just outside of town, just we really connected with that similar stories. And just, to be given this opportunity again, I'm just beyond thankful.
Well, when you first came around and Taylor first came around, he was very excited. And we went to a dinner somewhere, and he told me about all this great team coming together, and y'all have done wonderful work.
Thank you.
Getting it all done. I'm looking forward to seeing this year. You got more stuff?
I just want to mention, Taylor, you do a lot of the script writing for this, don't you?
Yeah.
Some of the narration is just great in the beginning of the show and different times like that. Talk a little bit about writing these stories. How do you come up with these stories?
Yeah, well, I mean, Eric and I do all of that kind of, let me see if I should adjust there a little. So, yeah, Eric and I collaborate on the writing, and most of the stories are, 100% his, and they come from a really authentic place. But that's how I started in this industry, was as a copywriter, and it's just been one of the easiest ways for me to express myself over the last decade. And so, yeah, it was, like Eric says, it was really meant to be. I was looking to put out content that would leave a legacy, that would stand the test of time. And, so there's so much reality content out there right now. And we just wanted to exceed what's out there. We wanted to put something with a little bit more value to it.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
I tell you what, Taylor, if you don't mind, one more time, tell us where we can find the show.
So one really easy way would be go to tnwildlife.org, or you can find us also through our website at tnuncharted.com. Check out YouTube or PBS.
Okay.
And TWRA TV.
Yes,
TWRA
TWRA
TV. Eric, appreciate everything.
Thank you guys
Appreciate
so
it.
much.
Taylor,
Great job.
appreciate
Y'all
it.
are doing a great job as well. So thank y'all
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you. We look forward to seeing year 3, right? All right.
All
What
right.
else?
Well, you can watch this show on tnwildlife.org, same place you can watch Uncharted, or TWRA TV. Go to tnwildcast.com. There's all kinds of places to find this show, and we hope you're watching and following us on Facebook. A lot of stuff going on there, and Twitter.
We're everywhere. And we'll be back here this week, next
yeah.
week, and then the week after.
We're here
All right.
every week,
Thanks, everybody.
believe it or
See
not.
you next week.
Thank y'all.